What it do? It's me. It's that wrestling dude. And I'm joined here with the guy, 600 days and counting as a TF Crew world champion, the Puerto Rican Angel, Anhen Santiago, man. Welcome.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. I'm very glad to be here. 650-day plus as the World TF Crew Champion on Cage Match and LLC, baby.
Damn. Congrats, man. Congrats. Big accomplishment.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much. I appreciate you having me on the podcast today.
Absolutely. Let's get into it, man. Who trained you? Where you based out of? And how many years been at it?
I've only been at this since I've been holding this belt, and I could confidently say Obey and Doc Holliday trained me to be the way that I am today. But I have truly surpassed it all because we were just a company running small, tiny shows in some parking lot in Bridgeport. And now we're on Cage Match. My last match with Rad Dad that was just posted today. You should look at that on the TF Crew World YouTube channel. But also, you should make sure that you watch the fact that there was 150 plus people there completely selling out the PAPW Arena, Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling. Paul Roma's school, if you don't know.
Damn. Big moves so far. Big moves.
Yes, sir. And every day that I hold this belt is another day that the TF Crew just keeps to the top.
All right. So before we get into you, let the people know about TF Crew. Give me a little backstory, history.
TF Crew was basically, I consider that they were a yarding organization before I ever started training under Doc Holliday there. I ended up taking the belt from some nobody in our first event that was free. Then we started charging for tickets, and I beat Obey, who was my trainer. And then I beat Mikey Anarchy in the first ever dog collar match in the entirety of Connecticut. I won. And then I went on to face Rad Dad, which, tying, right? I mean, just time limit draw, I consider it. But Ty goes to the winner, of course. So, still your TF Crew World YouTube Champion. We'll mark that little asterisk off later. But time keeps going up. So do the tickets. So do the people. We are making a name for ourselves in Connecticut, TF Crew. And there will be some collab shows that you'll be seeing possibly in Philly, possibly in Jersey. Taking over the North, baby.
All right. What's your first memory of pro wrestling?
I would say that my first memory of pro wrestling, honestly, and this is crazy to say, but Edge retiring. My dad had he lied. He bold-faced lied to me and said we were going to a Yankee game. So I had my Jeter jersey on and I had the hat on and I was ready. And then Edge came out and retired. And that was my first time I'd ever been to a wrestling show. And to see the way that people had reacted to the fact, because he had won the world title the day before against Alberto Del Rio. And it was a moment that really captured me that although I don't want to be in the same spot he was at the time, again, thank God he's wrestling now, I want to be in a spot where when I do walk away from this, that people have the same emotional connection with me that they did Edge or Adam Copeland.
Oh, respect, man. Did you watch it or your dad just tricked you?
He tricked me. I had never watched it before.
Okay.
I was a dumb 6-year-old kid who had no idea what was going on. And I was just at that point, just Yankees. Because, baseball when you're that young. And I was all decked out. I had no idea what was going on. But it just, even before any of the actual, taking bombs, throwing people, I just knew that this is something that I wanted to do.
That's cool. That's what I've been thinking about tricking my boys because they're 8 and 10 and they think wrestling's stupid. And I think I just gotta take them to an event and experience it live because live is way different than seeing it on TV.
Oh yeah, I mean I think that's the deepest part about it. I mean it's not like football where you could watch it on TV and you get the quick jolts of replay and whatever the case may be. It's a story. And if anything, wrestling, I would most attest it to being opera in the same way that you can record it all you want. But there's a reason why, YouTube wrestling doesn't overtake TV wrestling, that doesn't overtake live. Because it's just, the closer you get to wrestling is the deeper connection you'll have with it.
So how'd you start wrestling then?
So basically I had done a few classes with Paul Roma at PAPW. When I was 16, you could see there's these pictures on my Facebook of me with blonde hair, if you can imagine that, because that was a phase that we go through in high school. And unfortunately, I didn't continue. And mostly it was because my ex-girlfriend at the time didn't want me to do it. And I thought that was the right thing to do. I thought I was making the right decision. And it took And I'll admit, I'll give him his props, being that I don't like him because I own his company basically. But he is the owner of TF Crew, Gabe Sayers. And he came to me one day and he said, I want to turn, this YouTube channel I have that was also a vlogging channel. Like, he had like a bunch of other BS on it, but it had, decent amount of subscribers.
Yeah.
And he wanted to make it a real pro wrestling company. He brought in trainers, Obey and Doc Holliday. They taught me everything that I know. And here I am.
Why'd he come to you? Were you like a AV guy, audiovisual guy?
So no, I in a weird way I had also done yarding with my friends.
Okay.
When we were in high school, and I'm very blessed that we had good opportunities. Like Fox News had picked us up, and they did a story about us, which made our channel grow, and we started getting like 10,000 views on every video. So I had some sort of online presence that, I could still bring to it. I feel confident that I've known how to cut a promo since then. And
You did, not me. He'll be back eventually. He's ready for Mania. Talking to yourself is weird. Is it me? Full bar, baby.
oh, and just like Gabe Sayers would, he cuts my Wi-Fi, cuts off my app, and leaves the TF Crew World YouTube Champion figuring this out for himself. I don't even remember where I was. Can you repeat your question that you were saying last time? Cut my Wi-Fi. Here's 2 middle fingers for you, Gabe Sayers.
Yeah.
I'm not getting up.
Yeah, just basically how they came to you.
Yeah, so then this numbnuts that just cut my Wi-Fi came to me, and he basically said that he wanted a pro company and that he wanted his world champion to represent that. And ever since then, I trained and I did everything I could to just continue my reputation in wrestling while also trying to learn from everybody along the way. I've been blessed to be around a lot of great people at the TF Crew as it's expanded. Jeff Nova, who's taught me so much, you have no idea. Tony Cheney, who's taught me a million things that I take into consideration. Rad Dad, who does a lot of training stuff with me on the side and really helps me with my character. Like I consider those probably 4 or 5 people like my wrestling dads. Like those are the people who really taught me everything that I know.
Lucky you, man. Had 4 of them.
Yeah.
What's the dumbest thing you've done on your yard days? Jump off the roof of a building?
No, come on. This got to be. Okay, here's the thing. I actually feel, and this is weird to say, I was a very conservative yarder.
Okay.
Don't get me wrong. I did dumb shit with them. But, I never got a light tube busted over my head. That's stupid.
Yeah.
I don't think I actually ever went through a door. I put a lot of people through doors, though. But the one thing that I say was stupid was my friend we wanted to do this spot where, we wanted to do the thumbtack spot. I'm not doing thumbtacks. Absolutely not. That's just not even woohoo, not on even the scale. But Legos,
oof,
I could figure that out. Lo and behold, I did not know that. Okay, there are 2 different types of Legos. Everybody, there are the Legos that come in sets, and those hurt. Those don't cut you. Then there's borderline fucking Lincoln Log ones that are just cubes that are just really hard, red, yellow, and green. It's like the basic ones that you do to build whatever you want to do. And that's where I took the bump on, and it cut my back up equally as much as a thumbtack would have. Yeah. So that was dumb as hell, and I should have checked the bag before. And then I see my friend pour them out, and I'm like, what set would those go in? And then boom, and it's game over.
Yeah, I had 2 different guys, Prince Piranha and Hardcore. Both said Legos is the worst thing to land on or get hit with or whatever.
I love you, Hardcore. He's the best. He's the best. Another TF Crew wrestler who has genuinely been such a big reason why this company has taken off as well, to get us just in the death match sort of community, because he puts on bangers with everybody he goes out there with.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I believe that. I mean, if he's saying it,
Yeah, he's always creating them crazy weapons too, man.
I can't believe it when I'm sitting in their locker room thinking about, okay, what am I going to do? How am I going to beat this guy? How am I going to get in there with and then I see hardcore dragging a door with like soda cans on it and like cocaine and like barbed wire in between. And I'm like, oof, okay, I'm not, God, I can't do that now. But what, like, yeah.
The soda cans is wild too.
Dude, I actually could not imagine how bad that hurts.
Yeah.
Like cutting your finger on it hurts.
Yeah,
like getting a little, ooh, that sucked. Like, no.
Yeah, he's got screws loose though. He said he doesn't mind the cutting. I'm like, you're crazy, man.
The syringes? He put syringes in his nose and
no. Who'd you break in as? You always been the Puerto Rican prince?
I will say, and I don't know why, and at this point I've copyrighted the name, but it was my first yarding name, and it just stuck. And I think a part of it was I think that I was a little bit embarrassed about wrestling when you're a 14-year-old kid doing it on YouTube with a bunch of your boys in a backyard. It feels really stupid.
Yeah.
And so I just wanted to hide my name. And I think that like the more confident that I've gotten with actually wrestling training is the more I've actually incorporated Angel Santiago into it.
Okay.
And I think that makes me, to this day, I feel like I go by more Angel Santiago than I even do the Puerto Rican Prince. But at this point, I feel like the Prince is just something that I've really specially created, which is nice because it's transcended wrestling and gone to film, which is really nice. And now it's kind of like a character that I could always like portray on screen. And at this point, it's somewhat recognizable to at least, people in my vetted circle.
Nice. What's your finisher?
My finisher? Okay, so you're going to hear this. Here's a scoop for you right now. I'm changing this now because there's a certain WWE wrestler named Trick Williams who all of a sudden, miraculously, after I hit Mikey Anarchy with a knee and hit him with elbows until the referee pulls him off, because I'm a double black belt and I've always had this finish, suddenly on NXT he uses it. So, Trick, you can have it. Congrats. I don't know what makes you an MMA guy to throw a jumping knee strike and then blistering somebody with elbows until the referee pulls you off. Even though I've been doing it, I'll change my finish. So you heard it here first. I'm looking for suggestions.
Okay. Nothing yet there. Nothing yet. Nothing in the works.
Yeah.
What'd you call it? Did you have something? Did you call it before or nothing? You just the knee to the face.
I called it the SMD knee, the suck my dick knee. Because that's usually what I'm thinking when I throw my knee into somebody's face.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are you double black belt in?
So here I'll try and pull my shirt up. So this tattoo, if people don't know, this is Taekwondo. This is the first black belt I have, and then this is Kempo, which is written in either you could say Japanese kanji or Chinese, and because it's the same thing. And yeah, so that's a large. So those were my two black belts. I studied them simultaneously at Bagwell Academy in Milford, Connecticut, and yeah.
Damn, for years I'm assuming, right? Since you're a kid.
Yeah, it took 6 years straight, and that was 6 years, 4 to 5 days a week.
Well, what made you decide to do that?
To be honest, I wasn't falling in love, and I did play football in high school, but this was kind of more in between towards the latter half of once I got my black belt, I wanted to do something a little different, and that's why I went to football. But to me, team sports always drive me insane because I just didn't want to lose.
Yeah.
And I knew the second that I started to fight that I was like, this is the best because regardless of what happens, I have full responsibility over it. Yeah. If I win, I know that was because of the effort I put in. If I lose, I know it's because of the lack of effort that I was putting in. And I'm addicted to it. I still do it to this day. I try and get in as much as I can. Obviously, wrestling and film and blah, 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 and life gets in the way. But I always try and get in the gym, and I always try and make sure that, like, I could practice not just hitting the bag or whatever the case may be, but also, like, katas and technique and trying to maintain flexibility. Like, there's so many aspects to martial arts that people don't consider. They think it's just punch, kick, elbow, whatever, because that's what they see on UFC. But even those guys are so disciplined in what they do, and that's what's truly essential.
And we really whoop somebody's ass.
Exactly. Yeah. Hey. There's a reason we got it. There's a reason we got it.
I seen you down in some Florida promotions, Amp and Atomic. How'd you end up down here in Florida?
Okay, so I go to the University of Miami. That's where I'm calling from right now. Go Canes, baby. The U. Can't say that about our team sometimes, but that's why I got the orange and the green right now. That's why I got the orange and the green. However, I will say I'm a senior. I am graduating in 3 weeks. So I will be coming back up north to reconquer the north. But yeah, when I came down here, I ended up getting a gig at the Space Coast State Fair, and that's where I did my first gig. And then the promoter of AMP came to me, and he was so kind and generous and willing to, take me in and allow me to be part of the roster. So I ended up working there twice. I ended up doing NGW, Neg Dog Wrestling recently in front of 250 people. Great show. And then, Atomic Legacy Wrestling. And that's just been a real trip to be in a locker room with a bunch of WWE guys, especially at 22 years old. I just turned, and seeing the guys that I have figures of around me, is super cool. It's super nice, and I'm super thankful to be there. But I also know there's a reason I'm there, and that's why I've never been pinned in ALW.
Those Atomic shows always have a bunch of big names on them.
Huge ones. Yeah. Being in a locker room with Kevin Nash and Kurt Angle is definitely a eye-opening moment when you're a 22-year-old kid.
I bet. I saw you fight what looked like a parking lot behind a building. Is that the most unique, let's say, place you've wrestled?
Oh my God, nah. Because to be honest with you, so that's my amazing sponsor, Arc Smoke Shop. Great people. They pay well. I will say that they've been a very supportive sponsor, and they've always allowed me to do these parking lot brawls that I've done. I've never honestly done something like that over my entire life. The first time that I did it actually there, I was against WWN wrestler Brian Colton.
Okay.
And I ended up beating him and retaining my TF Crew World YouTube title. And then this most recent time, it was one of my buddies who had started training with me and then moved to Florida, and he hadn't really picked it up since. So I wanted to, obviously give more opportunity, give more, see if we still got that chemistry that we did before. And, I had a great time doing that. And don't know if you saw, but it got 13,000 views on Instagram Reels. And I don't know how many people in Florida are doing that. So
yeah. You call it a kendo stick or a Singapore cane, you think?
I've always called it a kendo stick, but I've also just called it ouch, because that's what my karate trainer used to walk around with. If you were not deep enough in a low block or whatever, wham, right in your shin.
Yeah.
So I call it ouch. I didn't ever know what it was called. I just knew that it was a stick that hurt for a while. And then when I started wrestling, I learned it was a kendo stick.
Yeah. We got the Influence Wilson Dyer. Do you know him?
Oh, yes, I do. What a great guy. What a great Florida wrestler. There's very few of them, but he is one.
Putting you over. So dog collar match, brawlers outside. What's the most you'll do? You won't do light tubes? We do barbed wire?
I am not dumb. I'm not going to do anything. No, because then there's this freak, Mikey Anarchy, who pulled me down and used a buzzsaw on me.
Oh, no.
One of them banana knives that you hack at palm trees with. That shit hurt. And then I DDT'd him through a door. So that was good. But yeah, to be honest with you, glass just sucks, because even in that match, it was that, okay, you asked before what was the most unique location I've done. This was the most unique location. It's in the middle of really, really not fun town, New Jersey, and Jersey City type New Jersey. Yeah. And I was oh my, and then we fought outside, and homeless people were coming around us watching. And I've never been more scared for my life, just fighting in the streets of Jersey City as a bunch of crackheads are woo! So that was a really interesting experience. But yeah, that was probably the craziest match I've done. I did DDT through a door. He cut me with a knife and made me bleed. I don't bleed very often, but I don't think that I'm at this point afraid of a lot of the weapons or whatever the case may be. A lot of the time for me, I actually just think that it just doesn't mean enough.
Yeah.
I don't know if you if you guys go and watch that amazing match that Rad Dad and I had where I retained my title, I took a superplex. That's the first superplex I've ever taken. The crowd chanted, "Holy shit." How often do you get a holy shit chant for a superplex?
Yeah.
and we waited till the 18th minute of the match.
That's what a lot of people were having him on was less is more, pretty much. Especially the guys been around and like really hone their craft. They're like, you don't have to go out there and kill yourself.
But a large part of that too, and I agree with that phrase, but there has to be one added to it.
Yeah.
Less is more when your character works more than your work does.
Yes, yeah.
And that's kind of the problem. When you just go out there in a singlet and your gimmick is wrestler and you both are just doing arm drags, ain't no one want to see that.
Yeah.
People want to be entertained. People don't want to watch arm drags and hip tosses and and a superplex. Nobody's going to cheer because the whole point of wrestling, in the words of very wise Jim Cornette, is it's two guys fighting on the road, a big guy and a small guy, and that small guy's getting whooped. And when the small guy gets over, that's when you start cheering.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, Corny.
Yeah. I have a figure of Corny sent me. It says "To the Puerto Rican Prince" from Jim Cornette.
Nice.
Yeah, it's on the wall.
Got Wilson Dyer showing you some love. All love for the Puerto Rican Prince. Keep on killing it, man.
My man. What a social media guru as well. I may be the YouTube champion, but he's definitely like Instagram, TikTok, X, MySpace, whatever else they got going today. I don't even know. He's got Twitter and X, even though Twitter's done.
Oh, he's got both. Damn, that's skills.
Yeah, I got YouTube, but like he might have YouTube. He might be the YouTube Shorts champion type. So.
You just so let's talk about your match you just had with the Rad Dad, Radley Belmont. So triple world title fight at Unhinged Rumble. So first off, the GBYWN, what's that stand for?
Oh God, I don't even. It's like golden something. But I will say, on the research that I had done on my end on that, Will Ospreay's wrestled for the GBYWN world title.
Okay.
Mike Bailey has. Jordan Oliver. So all these people, super Matt Demorst, for some people who don't know, that's where Logan got the pulverizer, demoralizer.
Yeah.
That's where he got that spinning DDT from. All these people had wrestled for the GBYWN world title. And Rad Dad happened to be that champion before him. And then on the flip side, we have GTS, Grimm's Toy Show, 1.3 million subs watching for that world title, that legendary YouTube title.
Damn, nice. Ended in time to draw, right?
Yeah. I didn't know that there was 20 minutes on a world title match. I don't know who would limit me at all. But all I'm saying is he hits me with the stunner at the end. I roll out of the ring. Tough shit.
Yeah.
Tough shit. I'm still the world heavyweight shit. And here's the best part too. What would have happened if he did win? Is Rad Dad gonna carry this company on his back the same way that I have? Absolutely, the fruitly not. That just ain't gonna happen today. Yeah. 2025 of all times is where you need me to continue to push this company higher and higher and higher than it's ever been. I'm the only person who's held this belt that's defended it in multiple states. I will be defending it in Pennsylvania and Jersey, hopefully Delaware. I hope New York. I hope I could get it down here as well. And all I'm going to do is continue to try and push this. This is the first title ever in TF Crew that was in front of that GTS audience, in front of 1.3 million subscribers. And I'm going to be the one to take it even higher than that.
Damn. You guys going to run the match back?
Who needs to run things back? We wrestled for.
He had his chance. He blew it.
Yeah, I mean, listen. I know that he wanted to go into it and he was like, "Oh, okay, I can't be pinned. I can't be submitted. I can't get counted out." I don't think he was thinking what happens if he loses via time limit draw. Yeah. Honestly, I'm gonna say that was definitely in the playbook. So I'm just looking at this from a wider dimensional point of view. Now, I don't think people really want to see a Rad Dad and I rematch. Who wants to see me beating him up for 20 more minutes just for him to hit a Stone Cold fake ass stunner? They don't want to see that. So, let's get me somebody else. Let's get someone bigger, let's get something else. Let's really elevate this title above someone like him.
Yeah. So, wrestling's not the only thing you're into, right? You're into film as well?
Yes, sir. It will be today, I'm blessed to say that there's 4 films that I'm going to have debuting in the Cannes Film Festival this year in Miami. 2 documentaries and 2 narrative films, and one of them's already on YouTube. It's called One Round. It's on my YouTube channel. I'm very blessed to have everybody who worked on these projects together. I'm also a TV executive producer. I've done interviews for A24's new Warfare film, where I interviewed Kit Connor and Will Poulter and Michael Gandolfini, as well as Ray Mendoza and Tefera Wunatai. And then I also worked with Marvel to do an interview for the Captain America Brave New World movie. I did that interview with the new Falcon, Danny Ramirez. So these are things that I'm trying to balance this like 3-prong of my life right now. And hey, May 2nd through 4th, 4 films going. You better be there.
Damn. So when all that stuff going on, man, what's been your best moment then? Your favorite moment so far?
Wow, that's okay. I think it was this. It sounds like stupid to say, but like when I filmed this One Round film, and it was a fight scene, and the guy who had been working as the director of photography, the people that were shooting it, the people who script supervised, like this whole set that I brought together, even the guy that I was doing the fight scene with, I trained him to do the fight scene, like just basically how to throw a punch, how to throw a knee, how to do basic shit, and I would just take all the bumps because I mankind that performance. But anyway, but it was being there and realizing that like more or less everyone was there because I had tried to I feel like film is always something that you need to just rise to the occasion. And I feel like that's what I did when I built that whole crew. I wanted them all to rise to the occasion, and they all did. And I wouldn't have been able to make that film if it wasn't for them. And now I see the stuff that more of them are doing now, and it's bigger and it's better. And it's nice to remember that sort of all of us in a field with 2 cameras try at like the crack in Miami. You know, it's like 12 p.m. It's 90 something degrees out. I'm dying. We're all dying. And it's just, you know, everyone putting their best foot forward.
Yeah, man. That speaks volumes about your character, man. You're 22, and your favorite moment is helping other people out. Wasn't even anything selfish. Like I won the title, or I had this best match. It was I was able to get all these people on the same page, and we created something awesome together.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You said Jim Cornette sent you a action figure. What's your Jim Cornette story? How'd you link up with him?
So basically, my dad loves Jim Cornette, and he's always been a Jim Cornette fan. So like whenever he emails him, and like they will try and go back and forth, and that's where honestly, like, you know, my dad was like, "Can you send me something, you know, for my son? He's a wrestler." Blah 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 blah. Cornette sent me a video where he was like, "All right, get out of the wrestling business. If you want to stay, and then, you know, gave me this whole like, you know, believe in yourself, but also respect the business, respect what's going on. Don't fall into just Canadian destroyers and pile drivers that don't mean anything. Like basic things that you would hear from any trainer, but also just like very real to hear from somebody who I know people call him a curmudgeon, and I know people like to point out a lot of like, you know, his loud antics that he brings to like his opinion, but a lot of it too is sadness. And he's sad sometimes that wrestling can't just be 2 guys who aren't trying to kill each other in a lot of cases.
Yeah.
And like the goal, and I say this every time that I go out and I face a younger guy who has like, you know, as in like, I mean, younger than me, which is why like I'm talking about like an 18-year-old kid, you know, who's 4 years younger than me. But like looking at them and they're like, yeah, like please just pile drive me on the apron. I'm like, no, because it's not about hurting each other, and it's not a death. Like I know people call it death match wrestling when there's weapons involved, but it's not a death match. We're not meant to kill each other.
Yeah.
We're meant to beat the other one. We're supposed to have a goal, a motive, a character, or else just go be in Muay Thai, honestly, and elbow and knee each other to death.
What's something you know now that you wish you knew when you first started years ago?
Oh, that there are going to be people who have succeeded in wrestling who have no idea what they're talking about.
Okay.
If I wish that just because I like was like, oh, they've done X, or X person has visited their school before, I wish that I had more perspective of just like being more human with them.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes the best people that you'll meet in wrestling are the people who didn't succeed, because some of the best some of those who don't teach sometimes. Yeah. And they teach amazingly and so well communicated. And I'm blessed that I was trained by somebody who could do both with Doc Holliday and Obey. I mean, Doc having matches with people like Jordan Oliver, like being all around the country, like doing crazy stuff, and still doing it to this day. Again, I'm blessed to say that my trainer is a champion in my own company, and that I could, I get to see him go out there all the time and just, do it better. But on the same front as well, like I wish that I knew that there's going to be the vice versa of people who give bad advice. And it's not because they're being malicious, or it's not because they don't want the best for me. Maybe it could be, but a large part of it is just that they just want to have a voice a lot of the time. Wrestling does not have a lot of channels to a lot of people. And sometimes they want more people to know what they think, and just more people to like listen to them because they're not being listened to. That doesn't mean I can't get a grain of salt from them, but sometimes a lot of the time with wrestling is such a fine line to get those 13,000 views, or whatever the case may be, or get that triple world title match.
Yeah.
It's something where you should take risks, but at the same time, if you take too many risks, you just fizzle out like that.
Yeah.
So
give them too much too fast.
Yeah. A lot, like how many times people said, oh, you should change your character to this, or this, or that, or this, or that, or this. Yeah. And it's like, if I changed it that many times that it's been suggested to me, I wouldn't be the Puerto Rican Prince anymore.
There you go. Done a lot already, man. What you got a goal this year you wanna hit?
Yeah, I do. I want new title.
Okay.
And going back to the north, I got Pure Vanguard Wrestling. I'm coming for that title. I got Smash Yard on June 29th in Gloucester, New Jersey. I'm coming for that HTW world title that Mike Swanson has. And then I got, who else do I got? I got WBW in Florida, August 30th. I'm coming for any title in that company. GTS Wrestling, I'm going to make this the United States of Puerto Rico, Adam Bazar. And I promise you, all it's going to take is me just moving back up there. Because I have this, and I've been living in Miami for 4 years. So what's going to happen when I'm actually living up there?
Better tear through everybody this year.
Oh, yeah.
Stranded on the island. You can only bring 3 things. What are you bringing?
Oh, good question. I want to get away from my phone, so I should get away from my phone. That's crazy. It can't be food, right?
I mean, you figure you could get food there.
Yeah. Honestly, a book I haven't read before would be nice.
Yeah.
Because then it'll force me to read. I think that would be dope. If I could have just like a flip phone, just because I'd get anxious about like not being around, like not being able to call, like
just to call somebody.
Okay. Yeah. Like I feel like I'd go insane, and like that's my problem. I can't be talking to myself. I talk too much anyway. Someone's got to hear it. And then, I'd pack a pack of wife beaters because I hate being in dirty clothes. It just bothers me. So I would genuinely like pack like a 16 pack of like whites, just like nice, just so I could like change at least every 2 days.
That's a Puerto Rican answer for you.
Yep.
Wife beaters. Anybody you want to defend that championship against?
Yeah. And I promise you, once this whole Rad Dad thing works out and it all kind of blows over, there's somebody that's gonna be getting my attention. But there's one person in particular who has seemed to just go up on a shelf over the past year on the independent scene. And my trainers wrestled him. I know other people who have wrestled him. I've wrestled in his home company in New York. And I think I'm ready to whoop that ass. But I got to get past this Rad Dad thing before I can reveal that.
Okay. That's all I got for you, man. Go ahead and where can the people find you at?
You better find me at Angel Santiago Pro Wrestling on YouTube. 1,900 subscribers. It won't be that hard to find me. You could also find me at Angel the Prince Santiago, 2 little underscores underneath each of those that bookend it. And that's me on Instagram. And that's all I got, baby. And also subscribe to the TF Crew. Watch that video of me versus Rad Dad. That's the great, whatever you want, win, loss, tie, whatever anyone wants to say. It was the greatest match in TF Crew history. And I'm still the winner.
There you go. Go check them out. Really appreciate you coming on, man. Had a blast with you, man. Wish you nothing but the best this year.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. You guys have a good night.